From NBC News in Washington, this is Meet the Press with David Gregory.
This Sunday, she's logged 100,000 miles traveling around the globe as Secretary of State, pushing President Obama's foreign policy goals as his top diplomat. This week in Asia, she confronted U.S. adversaries, trading barbs with the North Koreans.
There is no place to go for North Korea. They have no friends left.
And warning Iran against its nuclear ambitions.
If the United States extends a defense umbrella over the region, they won't be able to intimidate and dominate as they apparently believe they can once they have a nuclear weapon.
From the wars abroad in Afghanistan and Iraq to the battle at home over health care, what influence is she having on her former political rival, now the President of the United States? Our exclusive guest for the full hour, the former First Lady of the United States, Democratic Senator from the state of New York, and candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2008, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
And we're back, our remaining moments with the Secretary of State. I want to ask you about something that you deal with all over the world, and that's the topic of women in leadership. Here was a moment from Delhi University in India during your trip when you were asked a question.
Madam, today and even day before yesterday, in one of your speeches, you hinted that the progress of women and the growth of women is directly linked with the progress and growth of any and every country. India has had a woman prime minister as early as in the third decade of its post-independence era, while America has been deprived, if I can say so, of the same privilege.
You could say so to me.
And
What's it going to take for a woman to be president?
Well, it'll take the right woman who can make the case and win the votes and get elected, and I am certainly hoping that happens in my lifetime. But what was so interesting about that exchange, David, is that I have now, as you said in the beginning, traveled more than 100,000 miles. I've been in, I think, 30 countries. I've done a lot of town halls because, you know, I believe it's not just diplomacy between government officials, it's diplomacy between people. So I've gone out of my way to do town halls, to do events that have significance to the countries in which I'm visiting. I cannot tell you how many times I've been asked about women in leadership, women in elected office, the role of women in development. This is a subject that is on the minds of people literally around the world.
You say the right woman. You know, supporters of yours I've talked to over time say, you know what, we're so disappointed because if she couldn't do it, who can? I mean, all the establishment support, all the money, married to a former president, all of these things that you had established, and yet you couldn't do it. It's very daunting to a lot of people.
Well, look, I'm not going to pretend that running for president as a woman is not daunting. It is daunting, and it is, you know, probably a path that doesn't appeal to a lot of women even in elective office because it is so difficult. But I am convinced, and I don't know if she's in elective office right now or if she's preparing to run for office, but there is a woman who I am hoping will be able to achieve that. Now, obviously, that's up to individual women who have to make this decision for themselves.
This was Governor Sarah Palin, who is stepping down as governor of Alaska, and what she said when she was named to the ticket with John McCain last year.
It was rightly noted in Denver this week that Hillary left 18 million cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling in America. But it turns out the women of America aren't finished yet, and we can shatter that glass ceiling once and for all.
Now, you probably don't agree with her politically, but do you believe that Governor Palin represents a woman's chance to become president?
Well, I'm out of politics. That's one of the things about being Secretary of State. And I would wish her well in her private life as she
Does she have what it takes?
That's up to the voters to determine. It's up to the voters to determine with respect to anyone. I mean, putting together a presidential campaign is an extremely complicated enterprise. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I will be an interested observer. I do want to see a woman elected president. I hope it's a Democratic woman who represents the
kind, no endorsement for Governor Palin
kind of approach that I happen to favor.
Okay. The question again that comes up around the world is what you experienced during an interview on Wednesday in Thailand. Let's roll that.
Will we ever get to see you as president of the United States?
Wow, that's not anything I'm at all thinking about. I've got a very demanding and exciting job right now, and I'm not somebody who looks ahead. You know, I don't know, but I doubt very much that anything like that will ever be part of my life.
So it's wait and see.
No.
Never say never.
Well, I am saying no. Because I have a very committed attitude toward the job I'm doing now. And so that's not anything that is at all on my radar screen.
So, you know, I guess we don't have to worry about a free press in Thailand. Right? They kept coming at you.
It was a great show. It's one of the things that I've been doing around the world, these interview shows. But the answer is no.
Right.
I don't know how many more.
But you didn't say never.
Well, you know, I say no, never, you know, not at all. I don't know what else to say.
Are you saying you wouldn't entertain another run?
I have absolutely no belief in my mind that that is going to happen, that I have any interest in it happening. You know, as I said, I am so focused on what I'm doing. And, you know, I think that the interest in sort of the political dynamics is, you know, obviously fascinating, not just here, but around the world. But, you know, the more common question that I'm asked, which I don't think gets enough attention because it's so important in these emerging democracies, is how could I have run against President Obama all those months and as hard as I did, and now work with him and work for him.
Right.
And a lot of countries can't believe that two former competitors could now have made common cause on behalf of our country. Now, I think that's the story, and that to me is a message that we're trying to send to the rest of the world, that this is the way a democracy works.
Do you still think about the campaign?
Not really. I sometimes, you know, see people who worked so hard for me and who are very committed to electing a woman president someday, and obviously, you know, that provokes emotions in me. But no, I've moved on. I think it's important to move on. I'm not somebody. I tell countries all the time, don't get mired in the past. So I'm going to set an example and not do it either.
Any regrets?
No, none at all. I gave it all I had.
Before you go, I want you to react to the ambition of a young woman. This is a young Hillary Rodham writing in 6th grade about ambition. When I grow up, I want to have had the best education I could have possibly obtained. If I obtain this, I will probably be able to get a very good job. I want to be either a teacher or a nuclear physics scientist. Now, I have to ask you, has this whole thing, being the senator from New York, running for the presidency, is this all about setting yourself up to be a nuclear physics scientist?
Well, unfortunately, David, I learned early on that that was not in the cards for me. So, you know, I had to settle for being in public life, which has been a great reward in and of itself.
Is this the story, how the story is playing out, is what you expected?
I have to say, you know, I was looking at that, I think I wrote that in 6th grade. I think it's just a lesson to everybody. You don't know where life may lead you and what your opportunities could be. I did believe, and my mother and father impressed on me the need to get a good education, and I think my family's support and values and the education that I received set me up to be able to take advantage of a lot of these extraordinary opportunities I've been given. I mean, I'm sitting here as a very lucky person, someone who's had a chance to serve the country that I've loved my entire life, that I believe is an exemplar of what is best in human affairs, that I care deeply about our future. So how lucky can you be? I got to serve in the White House when my husband was president, working on issues I care about. I got to represent the greatest state in the country for 8 years, and now I get to work with a new president who is so determined to make a better future. I have no complaints at all.
We're going to leave it there. Secretary Clinton, thank you. Good luck in your important work.
Thank you, David.
We all want an America defined by deep and meaningful equality, from civil rights to labor rights, from women's rights to gay rights, from ending discrimination. There are no acceptable limits, and there are no acceptable prejudices in the 21st century in our country.
We have a common task and a common challenge. Why can't we see that we are all in this together?
18 million of you from all walks of life. Women and men, young and old, Latino and Asian, African American and Caucasian, rich poor and middle class, gay and straight, you have stood with me. And I will continue to stand strong with you every time, every place, and every way that I can. The dreams we share are worth fighting for.